Good evening, I'm Tyler Matheson. Tonight, we're going to tell you a toy story. 3 toy stories to be exact. They're tales about playmakers who tapped into their inner child and hit the jackpot. Artists David Horvath and Sun Min Kim have been dreaming about creating their own toys since they were kids, but it wasn't until Sun Min stitched together, well, an ugly doll as a gift that the couple stumbled upon one of the biggest hits in the toy industry. David Horvath, now 40, was a student at Parsons School of Design in New York City when he decided he wanted to make toys, just not for a toy company.
I would say, hey, I want to tell stories through books and toys that I just create that's not based on something existing. And they would kind of nod and say, well, good luck with that.
But fellow student Sun Min Kim understood what Horvath was talking about.
She pretty much grew up wanting and dreaming about the same things that I did.
The dream was to create a fictional world through toys, books, and products yet to be named.
It was all about the story for us, that we're storytellers first, and the products exist because of the story.
Neither had a clue how to get started. What they did know was their universe would be summed up in the word ugly.
Our first conversation ever was about what is ugly and what does ugly really mean. And to both of us, ugly meant unique and different and special.
After graduation in 2001, their dream came down to earth in a hurry when Sun Min's student visa expired and she moved home to Korea.
That was the kick in the pants for me. I was either going to do what we were constantly talking about doing, or I was never going to see this girl who I was madly in love with ever again.
Horvath kept up a steady stream of letters to Korea.
And I sent her many letters, we'll figure it out, and inside I'm wondering how in the world are we going to figure this out.
He signed every letter with a drawing of a quirky character he called Wage.
A little orange guy with an apron, wearing a kind of an apron like he's a hard-working guy apron.
One morning, he received a package in the mail from Korea. Inside was a plush, hand-sewn doll.
And she turned that little character into a doll for me as a present. And she'd never sewn anything before. She didn't really know how to sew.
Horvath showed the doll to his friend Eric Nakamura, owner of Giant Robot, an independent toy store in Los Angeles. Nakamura thought Horvath was making a pitch.
And I'm like, hey, man, look what Sun Min made. And he was like, hey, yeah, that's great, man. Oh, I'll take 20 of those.
Horvath called Sun Min in Korea with the news.
I should be calling to say thank you, and my gosh, how did you do this? I said, oh, I just made it. I saw your character in the letter, and I was very motivated to just make that for you. I just wanted to make it for you. And I said, well, I need 20 of them.
They called the quirky creation Uglydoll and added a tag to each doll telling the character's story. They retailed for a pricey $30 each. The first 20 dolls sold out in a day. Sun Min sewed 40 more of the ugly dolls by hand. Those were off the store shelf in 2 days. For 18 months, Sun Min hand-sewed hundreds. They added more characters like Babo, Jero, Cinco, Wedgehead, and Icebat. Then Horvath got an anxious letter from Sun Min.
I've made 1,500 of these things, and my fingers are blue and red, and we're either going to have to stop or do this for real.
Getting real meant creating a company and finding a factory to make the dolls. The working capital was the $3,000 from the dolls they'd sold to date. Sun Min found a factory in Seoul. Horvath moved back to New York City to drum up retailers to sell the dolls. They wanted to keep their operation small and independent, so they didn't pursue the big toy stores.
There were all these rules that we'd heard about, so we thought, well then, let's find places where it seems like the rules don't really apply.
Horvath wandered the streets of Manhattan in search of stores that might be willing to break the rules of retail.
I just spent months going up and down every single street, starting from the financial district back and forth, searching every avenue and every street, looking for similar shops. And these shops included everywhere from museum gift stores to the window display at Barney's New York and funky little boutique jewelry shops.
Barney's is a high-end clothing store that had never sold dolls, ugly or otherwise. But like the small boutiques and museum shops, buyers were charmed by the concept and the love story behind the company's beginnings.
They saw it as more than just a line of plush dolls. Especially with the tags, I think they were almost as excited as I was about the whole thing.
In less than a year, Horvath and Son Min were ready to reach beyond New York and LA to the thousands of small independent toy stores across the U.S. and overseas.
The next time I actually was able to see Son Min was at the International Toy Fair in New York City. And that was the next big step for us. And I made the booth myself out of cut foam and felt and a lot of tape. And we were in the least expensive spot for that show, just way back in the back corner. We were right next to where the giant toy companies went to use the restroom.
The dolls were a hit anyway.
They would walk by and look up and, oh, Ugly Doll, what's that? That's a funny name.
The booth fulfilled Horvath's promise to Son Min that they would realize their dreams, and that meant not letting Son Min get away. But the couple delayed a wedding and went on the road together.
For the first several years, Son Min and I lived out of hotels. We went to all the trade shows. We went to Toy Fair.
By 2005, they were in 2,500 stores and selling hundreds of thousands of ugly dolls. But all of the profits went right back into the company to keep it going.
There was some website where I read that someone wrote how we were probably millionaires, and on that day I could only eat twice because I had to put my dinner money into what we were going to, it was like to make postcards or something.
What kept them going were their like-minded fans.
We're getting lots of emails and feedback from customers and fans that these were not just stuffed animals that they were buying. They would send us pictures of them buckled up into the back seat of the car and at the dinner table with them, and that kept us going.
Horvath and Son Min also realized they couldn't get this done all alone anymore.
We can't do it by ourselves. So we worked very hard to find good people.
They called their small office in New Jersey Pretty Ugly. Just a year later, the toy industry embraced the ugly universe with open arms. Ugly Doll was named Toy of the Year. For some, those plush dolls were more than just toys, they were an art form. The owner of Giant Robot had presented a few exhibitions of ugly dolls. Other museums and art galleries were quick to follow, even the Louvre.
We were wondering how in the world they even knew about them.
Entertainers and celebrities were also collecting the quirky dolls.
Snoop Dogg walks by and he's like, hey, what is this thing? And he's holding it, and someone took a picture and that started circulating.
By the end of 2006, over $1 million dolls had been sold, representing some $2.5 million in revenues. But the ugly universe was just beginning to expand. Random House negotiated for a series of books. The first UglyCon convention was held in Los Angeles, with fans showing up dressed as their favorite ugly doll. By 2011, Horvath and Son Min were at work on an ugly doll movie from Universal Pictures. They also introduced Ugly Doll at Toys R Us for the holiday season, with their own special section in the store. Since its debut, Ugly Doll has pulled in more than $100 million in revenues and countless fans.
I think because we're not coming from the mass market, we're constantly being discovered as something brand new every day.
Unusual windows continue to open on the Horvath's ugly universe. In 2013, a line of graphic novels featuring ugly heroes like Wage and Ox arrive in bookstores. Like the illustrated books before them, the graphic novels are intended for the kids in all of us.
Up next on How I Made My Millions.